In a serene remote village in Africa, nestled amidst a lush green forest, a gentle river meanders through, reflecting the soft golden hues of the early morning sun rising over the horizon. The air is cool and crisp, carrying the earthy scent of dew, kissed grass and trees. The tall trees that surround the village. Villagers, dressed in colorful traditional attire, move with purpose, some fetching water in clay pots from the river, others tending to small fires outside their huts made of clay and thatch.
Itohan paused to catch her breath, leaning against the rough bark of a tree. She placed a hand on her swollen belly, feeling the faint movements of her unborn child. It was a small comfort, a reminder that she was not entirely alone. "I will protect you," she whispered, her voice soft but resolute. "No matter what they say, no matter what they do, I will protect you." Her thoughts drifted to her late husband, Oda. He had been kind and gentle, a man who worked tirelessly to provide for their future. She could still picture his smile, the way his eyes lit up when he spoke of the family they were building together. His death had left a void in her life, a wound that was now compounded by the cruelty of her own people. As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky in deep shades of amber and violet, Itohan pushed forward. The forest began to thin, revealing a small clearing where a narrow stream wound its way through the land. She knelt by the water, cupping her hands to drink and washing the dirt from her face. The coolness of the stream offered a brief reprieve, a moment of peace amidst the turmoil. In the distance, the faint cries of birds echoed through the twilight, their songs a bittersweet melody. Itohan gazed upward, watching them soar freely across the sky. For a moment, she envied their freedom, their ability to fly far from danger and pain. But Itohan was not without hope. She had heard stories of other villages, places where kindness and understanding prevailed. Perhaps she could find refuge there, a place where her child could grow without fear of judgment or hatred. Her journey was far from over, but as the first stars began to appear in the night sky, Itohan felt a flicker of strength deep within her. Vulnerable as she was, she refused to let despair consume her. She had lost so much, but she still had her will, her love for her child, and a determination to survive. The world might have turned its back on her, but Itohan was resolute. She would endure, for herself and for the new life she carried. Itohan had pleaded, her hands trembling, her voice cracking under the weight of her grief. But no one had come to her defense. Even the women she had grown up with, the ones who had once braided her hair and shared laughter with her, looked away in silence. Now, the shadows of the forest closed in around her. The towering trees stood like silent sentinels, their branches swaying gently in the evening breeze. The only sounds were the rustle of leaves and the distant calls of unseen creatures. The forest felt both alien and familiar, an untamed wilderness that mirrored the chaos in her heart.
The forest grew darker with every passing moment, the shadows stretching long and deep as Itohan trudged through the winding paths. The sounds of the night surrounded her, howls in the distance, rustling leaves, and the occasional snap of a twig. She clutched her swollen belly, her steps heavy with exhaustion and pain. Her feet ached, raw from the rough terrain, and her back throbbed under the strain of carrying her unborn child. Every step felt harder than the last, but she knew she couldn't stop. The forest was no place to rest. Its dangers lurked unseen in the darkness. The path became steeper, littered with roots and rocks that threatened to trip her at every turn. Her breath came in shallow gasps, and her legs felt like they would give out. At one point, her foot caught on a root, and she stumbled to her knees, crying out as her palms scraped against the rough ground. She stayed there for a moment, trembling, the weight of her situation pressing down on her.
"I can't," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I can't do this." But then, her child stirred within her, a faint but undeniable reminder of why she had to keep going. With trembling hands, she pushed herself up and pressed forward, her determination reignited by the tiny life she carried. As the first light of dawn began to filter through the trees, the forest slowly gave way to a small clearing. In the center stood a lonely hut, its mud walls weathered but sturdy, and its thatched roof slanted slightly to one side. Smoke curled faintly from the chimney, a sign that it had recently been used, though no one seemed to be around. Itohan hesitated, her instincts wary, but her body ached with exhaustion, and she knew she couldn't go any farther. She approached the hut cautiously, pushing open the wooden door with a trembling hand. Inside, the space was simple but welcoming. A fire crackled in the hearth, its warmth spreading through the room. A small cot stood in the corner, draped with a threadbare but clean blanket. Bundles of dried herbs hung from the ceiling, filling the air with a soothing scent. Itohan stepped inside, her legs threatening to give way beneath her. She sank onto the cot, her body finally relaxing for the first time in days. As she looked around, she wondered who had left this place behind. The hut had an air of quiet generosity, as though it had been waiting for someone in need to find it. She reached for a clay jug on a nearby table and poured herself a cup of water, savoring the cool liquid as it soothed her parched throat. Then she lay back on the cot, pulling the blanket over her. For the first time in what felt like forever, Itohan felt safe. She closed her eyes, her hands resting protectively on her belly, and allowed herself to drift into a deep, dreamless sleep. Outside, the sun rose higher, its golden light spilling into the clearing and casting a soft glow over the lonely hut. The forest seemed to watch over her, its dangers retreating for a while, as though granting her this small moment of peace. Itohan didn't know what lay ahead, but for now she had found refuge, and that was enough.
A brighter glow. With each step forward, she